All right, welcome everyone. How is everybody doing out there today? So I got this new chart. Just put it together, and I just did it like in the last hour. I was sitting here doing this. Got the inspiration from one of the members on the chat, and I just want to kind of break in here. And I started to go back and look at different fractals in the past and look for something that's kind of similarly played out historically. Now, this is back, and this goes all the way back into August of 2014, where I have this fractal that kind of played out historically back in 2014. And some of the things I was looking for, there were similarities in the charts. One of the things is you see how you have this higher high, then a higher low, then a higher high. So it's hard to get this above these indicators. This just doesn't happen a lot with this particular style indicator here on this indicator. And then you see you got the same thing. There's that higher high, higher low, and then a higher high, and then it just kind of falls out there. Right now, another thing is you can look at the two red boxes right here. As this had played out historically. So you got these two red boxes. You see that these were both weak. These only were up there for just a small, short amount of time. Then they both fell out. These are both very weak plays on the top side. So I also looked at both of these, and you see how these had a higher high than a lower high, right? I like this on both of them, so very similar on both of these. Now, usually it doesn't do that. Usually what this chart does, it just goes along, just dies, right? It just goes along and dies. It doesn't usually like to make this higher high and a lower high like it did here. Also, what was very similar was if you pulled from the top to the bottom, you pulled your fibs. You pulled your fib lines, but it's very similar. Now, previously, and this is why I have this running up, I'm still going to leave this up to the 382, is because previously, in this one over here, I'll put this here. This tested the 0.382, and we haven't done that this time. So we have not done that this time. There's been no test of the 382 yet, right? No test yet. So of the 0.382. So we haven't had a test yet of the 382 right there, which is, I don't really know how to take that right there. I'm not quite sure, right? And I'm not quite sure how to take this. Now, what I do see is this structure looks very similar here. These two structures, how they bounced off the bottom. You got the retrace, right? And then you came down and you kind of went into this pattern right here. And we're doing a very, very similar pattern. Now, we weren't, like I said, you weren't able to get up as high as you did back in 2014. But then this posted up this hammer candle. And guess what? We just posted up the hammer candle there. There's the hammer candle there. And then this just died out. Now, this did this on falling volume too. So if you come over here, there's your volume. Your volume is staggered down again, right? There's your volume. Where's it at? Oh, we got Chone calling in. Nice. Let's see the Chonester, Monsignor Chone. Oh, let's turn his volume. Hey, buddy. How you doing? Welcome.
Good. How are you?
Good. It's the Chone in the house. So
good evening, everybody.
Yep. So, all right. Share some screens, sexy man. Not the porn screen. Not the porn screen.
Hold on. Let me hide that. Let me hide it.
That's his other webcam. That's his other service. He's got his Bitcoin live service, and then he's got his yep, there you go. You're good now. So what I was talking about, Sean, is this brand new chart I made. I don't know if you had a chance to take a look at it. But one of the things is on this, very interesting. So when you're in the bear market and you're in a bear trend, this indicator likes to flatline and just run on the flatline side here. And, you know, this hasn't really had any time to run in the flat line here, but we are down in the flat line. We're on the flat line. So to me, that says bearish, All right, your white indicator is what your trend line. So this basically is your trend, up or down. White line goes up, price action starts to go up. White line goes down, it's no bueno, right? Everybody cries in their milk over some spilt soup. So there's really just two indicators for me right now that have me just a little bit. Let me bring these babies up here. Just there's two indicators that I have going on right now that are really just got me a little confused. Okay, they're it doesn't take much. I'm married, right? So it definitely doesn't take much to get me confused right now, right? So let me show you what I've got here. Give me a second. I'm gonna pull it up. And it's right here. Okay, so number one, our bubble chart has bounced, right? So we have definitely got a bounce in our bubble chart. And I had gone back historically, and the last time we bounced off this area over here, this was the area we had bounced off. And I want to show you what happened last time we bounced off this area. So here's the area we bounced off of, right? Very similar, not quite as deep as it was before. But if you take a look at the structure that we had, sweeping down, right? There's that sweeping structure down, right? And as you moved up here, right? And as you moved up, you crossed your indicator line, right? You crossed, which should have normally been a very bullish play. This should have been a very bullish play when you cross this indicator line right here. And this is what's kind of got me a little bit worried right now, a little bit confused. So we've gone up, and we've done a nice job of going up right here. But we're not really, our indicator's not moving. So the last time we went up on this indicator like this, as you can see, you trended down. So this whole move right here, this whole move was actually a bearish move. As the MACD climbed, this was actually a massively bearish move that took us down. And we've fallen down here. And I'm in a situation right now where it's confusing. All right. I don't want to say confusing because it's the inverse of what it should do, right? You go up, price should go up, especially on a MACD indicator, right? You usually want to see your MACD indicator go up. That shows you that your price action is moving up. But now this is something I want to also show you guys is when you come over to your, this is my bubble chart for my RSI. Here's my other issue. We are right on not only this historical trend line that's come all the way down here, right? There's that historical trend line that's gone all the way up there, right? But we're also on the long and short trade line right here, which to me, once again, it's got me fucked up. I mean, this is saying on the edge, right? This is right here. You're on one of my long and short now. You break south of this, it's a short line. You break north of this, it's a long line. So we're right here on the cusp. And then you go back to your MACD, and your MACD's like has clearly broken out over the indicator, right? So that's a bullish sign, but without any bullish momentum in the price action. I mean, we haven't had, now we have had bullish action, bullish price action right there. But if you look at the volume, right, our volume has been not being bullish. Our volume has been being bearish, right? Our volume is dropping right there. So our volume is going down while our price action is clearly going up. So very confusing, mixed signals here for me. Right? Mixed signals. Then you take into account, right? You take into account, hold on a second. Let me bring this over here. You take this into account of, I got one more chart. So you take into account where we're at today with this indicator. And this damn thing loves to call bull and bear. This thing all day long calls bull and bear. So what this does is this particular indicator, you're on the top side. This is the Bollinger Band. There's your mean. Is your top of your Bollinger Band, bottom of your Bollinger Band. It's, I'm not going to, it's not tight, but it's not loose at the same time. We are literally, we bounced off this. It acted as support. We bounced off it again. We are hanging on this thing. So, fuck, people. I mean, this is three things to me that are just hanging on the edge. Right? This is hanging on the edge right here, and it can bounce up. This is hanging on the edge right here, and it can go up. And I'm a little. I mean, I don't want to say I'm confused, but I'm fucking confused right now. Right? Volume doesn't look good. It looks like we've wedged up into some kind of a symmetrical triangle. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Let's hope that Chon can help us answer these questions. Ready, set, grow.
Yeah, listen, I totally agree with you on, I guess, the mixed signals sense that we're seeing in the market here. When we were breaking extremely bearish and we were testing those $3,100 areas, there was this pent up, built up potential energy that comes about when we have these volatile moves. So the correction, the bullish correction we had from that was all that energy that had been pent up from this bearish move here, and the correction ensued. What's been striking, as you mentioned, was our volume profile. It still shows a very bearish volume profile when we were trying to form our shoulder years ago when we're trying to do our inverse HNS, that kind of petered out. Our volume profile wasn't corresponding with what we normally see when that shoulder formation normally occurs and we hit that neckline test and breakout. And then by the fact that this 4K region consistently becomes these strong resistances. And not only that, just the fact that the lower highs, 44, 42, 41, keep being put in place. So to tell you the truth, the kind of the pattern I'm seeing here is kind of what we kind of did back over at 6K. It's just still in this formation here. I think we can agree that our pattern above 6K was a descending triangle. We had a pretty much defined bottom, and we had that lower high pattern consistently every time we would do a bullish move in Bitcoin. We not as fast, not as fast, not as fast. So now we're looking at a situation here where we've already tested 3150. It's held so far. We've ranged higher, and now we're putting in those lower lows. So once again, I'm almost thinking that we're going to test the 3150 again as a similar trajectory that we had seen when we were above 6K.
Yeah, and look at the volume profile right there. If you look at that macro volume, I mean, it's just descending, and the price action is actually higher.
Its price action is higher. We have that stability there. So when we're looking at this, we're thinking to ourselves, okay, if our volume is consistent, low but consistent, and our price action is ranging, is this some sort of an accumulation situation? Are we seeing signs of that, like in our OBV oscillator, which was really strong for the amount of time it normally is up in this bullish move here, around 30 days, corresponding with other times it's done a similar move here. But we're still, back at the zero line here, under the zero line, finding that continued bearishness there. So I'm almost looking at something like this, where we have this triangle here. This is kind of the early days of this move here, and the reason I bring it up is because I expect at some point the 3150 area, call it 3K area, to be tested once again. And I think this kind of a pattern of a bouncing ball that bounces and then hits the floor again and has a smaller bounce and a smaller bounce. So over the next couple times here, I'm almost looking like something like this, until we have a definitive break or a definitive breakout, because lower highs. And I think the market's not going to be convinced that we're really able to go higher until we can try to see how strong really that 3150 area is. So until proven otherwise, this is kind of the pattern I'm expecting to play out. Now, this changes, obviously, if we break above 4K and close above 4K with conviction. We're further enough away, I think, from our two lower highs here to set a clear trend change if we are able to break above our neckline here. And we talked about being able to do that kind of clears the way, just as how far we came bearishly down here, for some kind of open sky, if you will. If we're able to close above 4K, we can definitely put these higher targets into play. But because of the declining volume and because of our on the edge, if you will, price action here, any move higher, I almost feel you kind of see those shorts finally start to load into that. And the ranging continues. So when Bitcoin ranges, what do we see? We see alts have great, select alts are able to play out their setups just because they're not being pulled down by a bearish Bitcoin. The ranging has helped crypto, at least to that. The problem with that, though, is that money has been flowing into into alts and kind of out of Bitcoin. That's why you're seeing the dominance just hover around 51, 52%. I actually expect, that is a continuation bear pennant. That's my whole point, is that we're going to continue to hit the 3150 area, smaller bounces off it, and then just as eventually 6K fail to hold, the 3K area can fail to hold and put a whole new story of Bitcoin into play. Obviously, there's other patterns right now that we can also draw on this. Obviously, there's this kind of a bear pennant still, if you will, still forming here. So I'm thinking that if we break through this pennant here, or if we break through the top side here, this overall kind of descending triangle pattern is what I'm kind of be watching for, because to me it just kind of makes sense. We have found support, and we know what happens when Bitcoin breaks bearish, finds an initial bounce of support, similar to what happened way back here when we kind of fell off a cliff here. And ever since then, it was the ball bouncing with just smaller bounces, hitting the same floor level. And I think kind of potentially doing something similar, just on a lower or a different time frame and time horizon. And this could be our price action heading into February. There's also something you have to keep in mind about cycles too. And all of these moves up here were secular. We had an up followed by a down, followed by an up, followed by a down. We're kind of running out of time here in terms of our up momentum here. Our bull pop, happened just about a month ago. We bottomed in Bitcoin December 16th, was our nice little inverted hammer there. And then the 17th, we started our very nice move there. 1 month later, we're kind of halfway through this 60-day cycle. And what I mean by that is we have these ups that go for 30 and then the downs that go for 30 more. So have we already exhausted our bullish cycle? And because of these resistance levels that have been established, are we heading lower? Now, the last thing I'll say about that is that on the daily, the Bollinger Bands, major support on our middle BB was there for a while, using that to push higher. The upper BB was significant rejection, notable resistance. We were able to bust through it intra-candle when we had our initial bull pop. But then the second attempt, this was kind of an outlier here where we weren't even able to get through it. We just hit it to the P and rejection. So that showed us that our bull momentum, even with our tighter Bollinger Bands, wasn't there on the second attempt to push higher and put in some sort of a higher high above 4,100. So now we're finding our support on our lower BB. And because of that, because of our current lower BB support, I still have to look at least somewhat of a retest chance of our middle Bollinger Band. If Bitcoin can't even do that, then it definitely shows how very weak it is. And a lower BB retest, once again, is definitely in the cards. Note it's around $3,400 and falling. But at least the test of our middle BB to around 3760 is definitely a possibility, as it acted as resistance turned support back to resistance once again. So as long as we're ranging above our lower BB, I like to basically put that next level of resistance, you know, in my sights, and would expect still at least a test of that. Now, I expect it to be strong resistance, and that could be really what could kind of peter out any potential bullish move moving forward there. So, yesterday's candle, the way it closed, the upper wick is kind of irrelevant. It was only like a $30 wick, but what it's telling us is that we're in this really tight range. And as you said, you know, on the edge, daily RSI, you know, on the edge, we're sub 50, but we're still in this kind of a of interesting low support here that just kind of continues to hold, and kind of this kind of broadening pattern here. And if that's the case, then we basically are right on our lower support and are just looking for that next push higher. And I think if we did get a push higher in Bitcoin, a real one with conviction, we would know pretty strong. You know, I think if we're to break through 4K again, it's not going to be on a wick. It's really kind of have to be on some pretty obvious, I guess is the word, price action. And if that were the case, you know, I would also think to see that would still bring money kind of flowing into alts continually, because a lot of those alt setups are still there. Some have had a nice run already, or trying to do a double dip. And keep an eye out for those lower market cap coins. And when we do these pump cycles, the higher caps sometimes move first, then the mid caps, and then those kind of super duper low cap coins are kind of the last ones to pump. And in some aspects, we're kind of seeing that now, and that does tend to signal the end of a bullish alt cycle. And what's going to happen is, if Bitcoin breaks bearish, you're going to see money flow out of alts very quickly, and Bitcoin dominance rise. I expect as we get closer to some sort of a legit bottom in Bitcoin, Bitcoin dominance is going to be significantly higher than it is now. That would basically show.
You know what's funny is that as you people are saying it's alt season, I'm like, it just was alt season. How did you miss the run up on Litecoin from $20 to what was it?
It went 100%. Yeah, 20 to 42.
20 to 42. I'm sorry, that's a fucking alt season, people. Like, it doesn't get any better than that. What do you want? You know, for the people that are looking back for 2017 with 1,000-point runs. I mean, that's an insane alt season right there. ETH ran up what? ETH ran up 100 and some percent.
ETH did 100, and actually the big winner was Roger Ver's Bitcoin Crash, that had over a 200% move from $80 to over $200 in like a 6-day span. So you want to talk about, you know, that kind of a pump there. But like all the other ones that had that move there, ETH, Litecoin, that second leg, you know, other than Litecoin did put in that higher high, and it had a better pattern setup. It had a much more cleaner and defined inverse head and shoulders. And yeah, like this is what we wanted the Bitcoin chart to look like, especially this shoulder here, and we never got that continuation in Bitcoin, and that shows that a better, cleaner pattern can play out more so than one that doesn't look that way.
And it also means that that Bitcoin follows Litecoin and Ethereum, and look at that perfect inverse head and shoulders with a great ending to it on Litecoin. And it just, I'm telling you, and then it died, and Bitcoin just couldn't keep up with the pattern. And then now Litecoin seems to be dying.
Yeah, and you know, in that context, you know, we talked about, you know, Litecoin was the precursor. You know, it was the one where kind of gave us the sense it was the first to break out when it hit $22. It happened a day before Bitcoin did. But how much of this move, especially with Ethereum, was the news event, the fork event, right? That was supposed to happen today, and I guess it's supposed to happen tomorrow. But how much of ETH and that event was pulling up the altcoin market, if you will, during that move. And the strong resistance at $160 on Ethereum, this double top here on this wick, followed by the retest rounding top here, showed there weren't any buyers above that area. So far, everything on our, the Bitcoin, the Litecoin, and ETH so far has just been a corrective bounce from a very oversold or at least bearish market. Lower high patterns are still in play, and you have to ask yourself, is the market prepared with these alts to kind of build on these higher lows and see them to that next level higher? Is it plausible to think that Tron has another leg, and XVG and a bunch of these that are? It just feels like, as you said, like the alt season, like we're in the rear view, looking at it at this point, and because of this lack of Bitcoin continuation, any continuation in the alts is suspect. Now, of course, Bitcoin can definitely change the narrative, and that would definitely have to be these major resistance levels that have been established now, breaking through those. Because listen, when we broke bearish here and were able to break through a lot of that near-term resistance in the 35, 36, 38 range, that was significant. But now that we've lost them, though, they become increasingly that much harder to get through again. So what was areas of resistance turned support. Now back to resistance. It's just that much harder to get up there. And lastly, I'll just say, where is this money coming from? Like, where is this next pump of Bitcoin going to come from? Because it kind of has to be organic after this. We had the energy to bounce correctively from this bearish move. Where is that next energy? We're just ranging here. And we see what happens when Bitcoin ranges for a while before the bottom inevitably drops out.
Yeah. Let's talk about the shorts for a second, because the shorts are absolutely out of control, oversold into a really ugly. So I posted up a chart the other day. Here's my chart, and still sticking by this. So whenever the shorts get into this oversold area, and you see we're riding in this oversold area. This is extremely oversold, and we've just been riding in this. We went up. I thought we were going to pull out of it, right? I thought we were going to get a little dip and pull out of it, but look at the shorts. Shorts are headed south again. So we got shorts again on the move. We got longs on the rise. Now, the longs RSI is not in any danger here, but the last few times that shorts were in the oversold condition, right? Look, shorts were not up there in the danger zone for the RSI. Here you go. Shorts were not in the danger zone. Not in the danger zone. So your longs do not need to be in their RSI danger zone. It's just when the shorts are, and you see the price action every time. What happens when you're riding in this? You're playing with fire. In these longs right here, these longs are playing with fire when these shorts are this far oversold, and there's a lot of longs out there right now, and there's very few shorts, and the shorts just keep dropping lower and lower and lower again. And you guys see how vicious this is. I mean, I'm telling you, we need to be very careful, because we are like, I'm telling you, this is the second lowest low we will have had, or this will be the lowest that we're about to hit, the second lowest low in 2019, right? And this was the last time we were this low right here, was this particular area right here. And then you see this is where we're at, and we're just ugly. Go for it, Joan.
Yeah, I mean, piggybacking on that, I have this line drawn where the shorts have shown when it touches this line, there's a big impulse. Now that's corresponding with a bearish momentum in price action of Bitcoin. We see it back in February here and here. We see it to the penny right here in November, or to the contract in November. And look how we are right there. And I've been watching this thing for days, because when we were over here a couple days ago bouncing, I actually felt like, I don't know, it feels a little premature. And surely we did have that rollover. So we are right like a couple more, liquidations ever so slightly away, to touching this line of volatility, which has had these major spike ups in the price action of the shorts. Now, if it breaks this line, it would be a lower low. It would be a lower low on the historic chart here, and that would be very notable. But as you said, Vamp, this zone, this area of shorts, when we get down to this area, this is the time where we get that range up there. And as you said, longs are not that overextended. The RSI, it's a little bit above 53. The longs actually look almost in a bullish position here, maybe. They're almost flagging, if you will, still on this chart here. So it almost looks like they really want to position themselves for one more push higher. Putting in this lower high, though, is notable. On this next attempt, they weren't able to just go as high there. But yeah, it almost feels like maybe the longs need to get a little higher and the shorts just get a little lower for that that big long squeeze, I think, because right now the longs are more positioned to be out of alignment than the shorts are. But doesn't mean there's a little bit of running room, still in either direction. Less so, I feel, in the shorts there, and that's why if we do touch this line, where the heck is it? If we do touch this line here, I definitely expect something to come out of that, and I would be surprised if we broke it or if we closed below it. That would be notable, and that would be kind of a bullish sign, I guess. I don't know. It just feels like at this point here, we're right there, and that's when the volatility clicks. So this could be signaling that BTC volatility is on the horizon.
Yeah, for me, my biggest issue with this chart is definitely the RSI, watching the RSI in this chart, because this thing just works out absolutely magical every single time. Just pull up a chart, throw up your shorts, put your RSI indicator on it. It's very simple, right? So there's your BTC USD shorts right there. And you can draw a zone. You can create a top zone and a bottom zone, people. And you can see clearly when every time, this is the blue line is your price action. So this is BTC USD. And you can see as BTC USD moves along here, exactly what happens. So you can see all the dumps every time the price action dumps. And you can just go along and chart out when you can see exactly where these dumps occur with your RSI. And I have to say, the funniest thing in crypto is how bull-tarded crypto is. And you never hear about a short squeeze, a long squeeze. There's no such thing as a long squeeze. It just does not exist. It's like, it's like making a racist joke in 2019. You just can't do it if you're white, right? You just don't. There's things you don't do. And in crypto, you just don't say the word long squeeze because everybody's like, huh? What? Unicorns? What the fuck are you talking about, unicorns? What the fuck is a unicorn? Like, no one believes you. It's like talking about you just saw Santa. Right? Everybody knows Santa doesn't exist, right? But don't tell me that, and don't tell my 6-year-old that, right? And don't tell anybody in crypto, that long squeezes exist, right? Because they don't. They're just like Santa and unicorns. All right, so let's move on. Go ahead, Sean. Sorry.
Gee, how do I
and I'm about to post up a tweet, right? So listen, everybody, if you're not, please come on over here. Give my man a follow. Look at this, 31,000 beautiful followers. Love to have you. Just give him a clicky. I might unfollow him and follow him again just to make him feel better. You know what I'm saying? Just so get over there, give the young man a follow. Thank you so much, Sean. Go for it, buddy.
Yeah, just checking in on Bitcoin again. It's where is it here? I remember a couple shows ago, you brought up the 12-hour chart and how the TD 9 on it. It was the cleanest perfected 9 of the higher time frames, and kind of the only one that actually hit that 9 there. And we like to see that reaction in the market to that. Very nice bullish pop there. All of our counts are kind of mid-cycle now. There's nothing that really stands out. on these timeframes, really, except just still overall the monthly, which we still are in a 6 and have several more months ahead of us on the monthly chart that can show us a full countdown continuation of our 9 here. February, March, and April, at least February, March, March and April, depending upon where we close, could be an interesting thing to keep an eye on for a full countdown clock as well. Now, getting back to my BBs here on the monthly, listen, we're halfway through this month, so it's okay to look at this chart and just get a sense of kind of where we are in this monthly candle. And it's not looking that pretty yet. I mean, it's nothing about it other than the fact that the body itself is tight, which I do like, in the sense that clearly there's a battle between support and resistance zones being fought here. The thing that I'm going to keep an eye on over the next coming months, though, is our lower Bollinger, which will begin to rise a little faster over the next few months. It's right under $1,000 right now, and we'll get probably several $100 more as we get into February. But I definitely expect at some point that the price action and Bitcoin and the lower Bollinger will kiss at some point. And just as we went up above it bullishly, I think we could possibly break it at least intra-month, which might be a very interesting buy setup just because of how extreme that would be. I don't think we're going to get anything close to these candles here. Obviously, we don't have that kind of running room. We're not going to go negative like 6,000. But the width still of our Bollingers on a very high time frame like the monthly, this just tells me we have so long, I think, in this ranging price range of Bitcoin for these things to tighten up anywhere close to where they were pre-parabolic move. And this is what happens when you have that kind of a move. So the fact that we're still at this extreme on the high time frame like the monthly, it just tells me we have so much more time for these to tighten up. And eventually, in the next couple months, our upper BB will drastically fall once we're past our 20,000 Bitcoin candles here. So this will begin to fall much more rapid. And if we were not able to find support on our middle Bollinger, I have to target my lower BB, in the coming months, as I said there. We're also putting in less than half of a volume bar this month, so that could signalize that we're definitely going to be at a lower volume profile this month. Now, that could signal selling can dry up for sure, but that's really what's going to determine how this candle looks at the end of the month. Because I'll be fine with the sense that selling may have dried up, but also signals that the buyers aren't there. The buyers aren't there even at this price point to kind of move forward. So that could be an ominous side there if we get this extremely low volume profile as we close out the month of January in the next few weeks. And let's see here, the 3-day. This candle was, one of those spinning top indecision candles that closed yesterday. This is a brand new candle here. But again, that indecision and still finding that middle BB on our 3-day 3770 area as resistance. These are all still pretty wide here relatively. We know how tight the 3 days can get when that volatility sign is imminent. We're still a little bit wider from there. But note how the middle Bollinger of the 3-day was resistance, 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 and then our last push higher just got slapped down here. Once again, that middle BB on the 3-day, we couldn't get above it. We couldn't close above it. So that's notable. We can't get above the middle BB on the 3-day, and we've not closed above it literally since September. So it'd be notable if we can close above it. And if we could close above it, that would be a very interesting sign there, because that could be a very nice long setup, achieving something that hasn't been done in months. That's why I love using my 3-day chart to get that kind of broader sense of what we can do here. But clearly, this middle BB is very strong resistance. As we tighten here, this can give the bulls a better chance to kind of push through it again and break through it. But if we are able to break through it, that could definitely be a sign of some sort of expansion. Once again, upper Bollinger will be a very strong resistance if we are able to do that, and that's around 4,300 and following.
So another reason, people, that I'm just stupefied right now and kind of lost is I can't count out a nice ABC pattern. It's really tough for me to count out an ABC pattern. I can count out a kind of a failed double top, right? I can count out a failed double top here. I can count out, I can see some patterns in play, just like Chon's talking about. I can see the wedge. I can see a bunch of different patterns. But I mean, really, I'm trapped. I really don't know. And this is one of those times where we're once again back on the edge, and either we're gonna jump off the cliff or we're gonna jump straight up in the air. And I'm lost here, and I'm worried that any jumps up, right, are just going to be opportunities to short back down to the ground, depending on how high. And this is something, if you just looking at that 3-day chart, you're watching the volume profile just continue to dive out there, but the price action is higher. And I'm just going to go back to that over and over and over again. That to me is a local macro trend, and the local macro trend is the volume is dying out while the price action is moving higher. And to me, that's just bearish, right? What we want to see on a recovery is we want to see price action. Actually, we want to see this volume profile right here increasing, this whole volume structure right here. We want to see this gradually moving upwards. And then you can say, oh, now there's more action, there's more energy, there's more.
You're on my chart.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm using your chart.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's
Okay.
there's more. There's just more interest, or whatever you want to call it, in Bitcoin, and I just see the opposite. I see this trend down, and this is more of a local down right here than your 3-hour chart. But I see this local trend right here, once again down, and I'm just I don't know. I mean, we've had some pretty good announcements. I mean, we've had the fork, the BCH fork, which was great. It was a great play. We had the ETH fork, right? That was a nice little run up on ETH. It's irrelevant what actually happens. It's the run up that counts, right? That's all we count about. It's really irrelevant forking ETH to me. ETH doesn't do shit anyways, right? What does ETH do? People have their platform.
It funds ICOs. That's what it does.
That's the good thing that ETH does. The other thing it does is people build on top of the ETH platform, which
smart contracts and whatever.
I haven't seen shit that's done for me, right? Hasn't done anything for me lately, right? But
and this price action here, it feels so much more body and algo than this felt a little more organic when we were really popping here. It felt like there was a breath to the market, to the order books. This BART, inverse BART, all this stuff here, this is the kind of shit we had seen before back, when the exchanges take over, because the organic volume just isn't there, and that's when we see these stupid ranges with these inverse BARTs and these stop loss wicks, because this is telling us that these are just scalp traders here, and just that's where the wicks are from. It's basically just playing these wicks, bots, get you out of your trade, and we're after all these wicks and whatever, we're still in this $200 trading range. Which is incredibly small. we're basically in this 6% range over the past week. So there's just nothing in this price action yet. And but breaking $3,800, I think it would be a quick shot back to 4K if we were able to get above 38 with more than just a wick. By then, you would feel that, okay, we're definitely going to get back up here at some point. And then let's talk about on the way down. I mean, we're not going to fall like a hot knife through butter if we're unable to hold 34.90, 34.80. There is at least a little bit of historical support just about this
33.60.
I don't know. 60 area, yeah, I guess that's basically the point. It acted as support, acted as resistance, and now is support once again. So that's kind of our next pot there. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's at least some buyers prepared to take one more chance here, just because we're still holding that higher low overall.
I'm that buyer. Yeah. I think we have one more fall down to 33.60. Or even down to 32.60 where the 200 MA is, and then that's the weekly 200 MA, and then get that bounce off there, and then get that run up for that wave C that we're missing, and David just shared a chart too, and David's charts are very similar to that, and I've been and I've had that on my charts for a while, because I just can't see. That right there is an ABC, right? I'm having a hard time with that as a correction, as a completed correction bounce, where just one more little run up, 4,300 would be great. 39, even a run up to 3,900, and then we can watch some volume exhaustion on the daily happen, and then we can say, okay, yes, just like that.
Now we kind of
4,300. Yeah, 4,300. I think is that's where your Bollinger Bands are. Remember, you just went over your BBs, and that's where your BBs sitting at 4,400. So if you plop that, I think it was your 3-day BB. That was your 3-day BB, or was it your weekly? Yep, there it is. Yep.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, so 40. Yeah. Now that would run up to your top of your BB right there, your Bollinger Band, and then you would have your reject. Now, I think 43 to 4,400, and that for me would play out as a very good topside run to say, okay, now you've run out. But at the same time, I think you have to fall just a little bit farther. Just a little bit. Just come on down to the 786. Right? If you threw a fib on that, that's
right where it is there. That's about 33.50 area.
Yep, and that would just be the perfect run up for me. So listen, I am still holding on to a 1-to-1 long trade that I had down there at 3,200 when we came off the bottom. If you guys go all the way back, we got the long trade, a call on the scalper, on the B scalper, on the 3-day. Right then, I pulled a 1-to-1, and I've been holding on to it. Now, half of my trade got liquidated at 3,400. So half it we went up, it came back down. I think I lost some at 3,700. I lost another half at 3,400. So I'm only sitting on about half that trade. It's not that much. I've got like $7,000 in Bitcoin down there, just with the hope that we would go up to 4,600, and then I could liquidate a bunch of Bitcoin, just liquidate it out there, and then flip that to a nice casual, 3x short trade. Something doesn't have to be excessive leverage, but that was kind of my plan. I would hate for this to drop all the way down to, it's got to drop all the way down to 3,200. It's got to break the 200 MA to take me out of my 1-to-1 trade. Otherwise, I'm just going to hold on to it until then. Now, falling out of this, and I am sitting in a short on my MEX account. So I am sitting in that ETH short still from 150 and change, right?
Nice.
So I shorted that thing at 159, took profit when it plateaued out. Reopened the short back up at 152 and change. Still sitting on that short right now. But I mean, I think we just have little bitty bit to go down, and then we go up.
It's interesting. I think the catalyst for the shorts raising might just have to be that a bullish one more push of Bitcoin
Yes.
getting above 37, 38. Then the bigger players start to get interested in loading shorts at that point. Longs might be that next push of longs, getting them super overextended. And then there's your kind of C wave completion of the correction, and then fallout ensues. My only thing about that is that it's just where's the money coming from? Like where's the sentiment coming?
And where's the volume?
Yeah.
If this is a C wave, C waves are supposed to be your strongest wave, right? And if this was inverse headed shoulders wave, this is supposed to be your strong. Listen, if I had 100% confidence in this going all the way back up, I would dump my ETH short right now. I would take the money and I would run, right? But I don't see the volume.
Yeah, and if we get down to 33.50, that's 786. We're only like $150 off our 2019, I guess 2018 lows. It just feels like at that point we've basically lost all of this. We've just lost all this. So that bounce from 33.50. So far, we have this very strong resistance at around 36 something. So that might be as far as we can get. I'd just be very shocked to get above the 3800 area, which means that we could do 4K. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a very ambitious C, but it does line up for that upper BB on the 3-day, which would coincide with a defined break of the middle BB, which again hasn't happened in months, but would be that kind of notable push that would be, okay, if we're above here, we can definitely target our upper Bollinger. And that scenario of that extended C up here would definitely be in play if that can be achieved. And I think it would, if it's going to happen, I just think it would happen probably pretty quick. The bandwagon would kind of take flight. Because so far we've just had these wicks. Everything is a wick so far. Every bullish little move here is just a wick out. Yeah. Oh yeah. So we're going to keep watching that as well. Let's take a look at a couple other interesting charts here. Trees bottom. Let's see here. Let's see here. Let's pull up. I don't know. What do you guys want to talk about? Any questions? Any requests? Anybody there in the chat room? 225 people.
All right. So we had a couple questions. Ramsey said, "Hey, a lot of people." He said there's some OTC buying going on. I'm still. I'm gonna question OTC buying down until we really have a confirmed. Until we have something that's a little closer along the lines for a confirmed ETF that gets closer. I think once an ETF actually gets closer, and I think once we get some signals that they will be approved, at that point, I really feel there'll be a bunch of over-the-counter buying that'll go on because you know how things get leaked. Things always get leaked all the time, so I think that'll one thing that's going to happen. I mean, you know how the big boys had dinner and they fly in their helicopters around, so.
Oh.
All right. So one of the other things is that we had a question was Donkey Boy says, could there be an inverse Adam and Eve top there on Bitcoin?
Let's take a look.
And he said Putin did. The Russians did it. And he said the Russians did it.
Oh, interesting. What did you say? Inverse cup and
Inverse Adam and
what?
Eve. Inverse Adam and
Oh, inverse
Eve.
Adam and Eve. Let's
So
see
where
here.
your A is, and that, well, I mean, yeah, your A, and then the next, that kind of double top you have right there to the right.
So what? This is
Yep, that would
Adam
be,
and this
yep,
is Eve.
yep.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think actually it's listen, it's about achieving goals, areas that are resistance, turning them into support. Um, you know, accomplishing, this is my MA 200 here, the red line here, you know, getting above it, finding that support, losing that, back testing it, and getting that strong rejection right under it. You know, and you know, these ominous signs keep popping up that we lost so much of that bullish momentum here with this pullback, and it just feels like a lot of that market sentiment that we wanted to use this follow through to kind of keep us moving here has just petered out. And that's what this kind of bot action is all about.
Quick question for you. This is definitely a Jonas question. There's that gap in the futures down at 3150.
Mm-hmm. So I have two thoughts about the futures. So yes, there is on the 1 hour chart a gap at 3150. Right here. No, there's this is just the hourly. So the gap is right here. Where's my square? It's right here, and it literally is price label. So we have to fill as low as 3150. Okay, so that's on the hourly chart. And yes, I concur that there is a gap on the hourly chart there. However, there's a 4 hour gap. All right, so this gap at 3150 is not there on the 4 hour chart. Um, I don't entirely know. I mean, again, there's significance involved, but this is filled. This wick goes right below this wick here. So there's no gap in the 3150 on the 4 hour. But there is a gap on the 4 hour chart, a higher time frame, still at 43.89. Right here, we have a close at 43.90, and we have an open here at 43.75. So 43.90, and if you just go sideways here, I'll put a parallel right here to see if 4389 was filled with any wicks here. We see it was not. Came close, was not. So that's still open on the 4 hour, and that's notable. And that is the only 4 hour gap on the chart. So I don't know. I don't know if 3150 gets filled. There's my C wave. There's my C wave potential there. Now, this could be a gap that gets filled many months from now. You know, it's possible, but normally on the 4 hour, we've never had gaps last more than a month. There was a couple back here that lasted a while, but like a while was like 28 days, maybe a little more. We are, yeah, we're from November 20th, so we're a month, we're almost in 2 months, almost 2 months into this one. So it's a long one, and I don't know. It's just it's. I've always been under the assumption all gaps in the 4 hour have been filled because they've all been filled except for this guy here. So yeah, I think 3150 is notable. I think 4389 is possibly still notable as well. And as you said, that would quantify that C wave. Yep. And it'd be a great kind of, oh, we're gonna do it, and then we just get, you know, just continued rejection, annihilated right there, right?
Yep. No, that'd be great. Let's see. When do you think the ETH fork will happen? Which one? There's like 3 of them.
I know. It's supposed to happen tomorrow, I guess. They're supposed to push it a day. Interesting enough, there was somebody who like sold a bunch of ETH before the announcement of the delay happened. Surprise, surprise. But yeah, I mean, ETH, it just, again, if the news event of the fork was the big catalyst for ETH, what's the news event, or what's the bullish case for ETH after the fork? I guess is the question I have.
Yeah. Yeah,
Where is that case?
David, who does a fantastic job charting, guys, Proud Clown, go find him on, if you guys get a chance, here's one of his charts right here. David does a great job. He says that he feels that the gap will be filled by February 15th. So he thinks that that gap will be filled by February 15th. We also are asking for a review on Tron. What about the so-called Russian transfer of 250,000 BTC to Phoenix?
That was
in
not
the
a
BitMEX
that was a
chat.
joke. I think that was a joke tweet. A joke tweet.
Was it? Yeah. Okay. Do
I'm
you
pretty
know?
sure
Yeah.
because they said 250,000 BTC is not $8 billion, is it? I mean, I guess it is $8 billion. Yeah, it's 5 and 6.
8 billion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess it is a ish. But I don't think that makes any sense.
Yep. CM wants to know, why do gaps get filled? This is a very easy answer. Let me. So you want to have the conspiracy
You take
theory
it.
talk, or do you want to have the market makers talk? There's two ways. So just the other day, I a very valuable lesson. As you guys know, I was not previously a trader. I did start my trading career January 25th, 2018, so I am a complete noob to trading. And apparently, futures contracts have been getting filled in pretty much every market like this, pretty much back to the dawn of time. And if you want to, you can definitely go back. It does happen on all different kinds of commodities and exchanges. And one of the things is that they always seem to magically get filled. Now, the idea is that it's the market makers that are continually filling these gaps on this in order to keep the futures. Keep futures alive, because last thing you want to do, unlike Arthur Hayes, is wreck the living bejesus out of everybody so that they have no money to invest, right? Last thing you want to do is be like Arthur, where you're pretty much a parasite to the space. And yes, you can pass that on to him. I do believe that exchanges in crypto are parasites to all of us. They drain billions and billions and billions of dollars off of the ecosystem every single year, right? It's billions, and yes, it is multiple billions. It's not just one or under one. It's probably about 5 billion, maybe 6 billion is drained in exchange fees, right? And then you have these wink wink hacks, wink wink, right? Cryptopia, right? Cryptopian hacks. You go back and there's these mysterious hacks and whatnot, and we just lost another exchange with everybody's Satoshi coins on it. Even though it was kind of a shit exchange, it's still there was people who had money on that, and that's all gone, right? One of the other things with futures is they do always seem to get filled. The people playing these futures are playing with big bags, and they are playing with lots and lots of money, and they hate to lose, right? These people hate to lose, so you can almost expect this 4,400 gap to get filled at some point. Whether it's going to get filled sooner or later, we don't know, but it will get filled. That would be a great thing for my ABC. That would completely fulfill my ABC prophecy to take place. But once again, we have to hold the 200 MA. I feel holding the 200 MA would give us that run back up, right? Holding the 200 MA at 32 and change, 3260 and the 786 is at 3360. I feel holding that would allow us to get that big bump back up, right? Of course, I got the dog in the background going crazy. Everybody just got home. Yeah, the dog concurs, so the dog concurs with me. Now, here's the other issue that I have with crypto right now at this point. Okay, a lot of people have been hopism. do we want to say for backed
Hopium, yeah.
hopium
Yep.
and for backed and or for the ETFs to go through. We now have the government shutdown here in America, which is pretty much freaking useless. If you want to ask me whether it's open and or closed, it's both equally useless. But aside from being equally useless on both sides of the fence, I think that I think there is very little, if and or no chance of ETFs getting approved, at least here in America. Now they were approved in what country was that approved it? Somebody has ETFs. Who is it?
One of the
Sweet.
stands.
Yeah,
Oh, right, right,
somebody.
right, 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 right. Finland
Yeah.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like somebody opened up an ETF, did absolutely zero to the market. We didn't see anything, had no effect. Now, backed is only a future. I want you to know that. Yes, they do have possession of the coins. That means if you do lose your ass, you do get that coin. You just get it with half your ass missing, right? So if you buy it at right here at 3,600 and it falls to 2,200, you actually get to keep it at 2,200. Okay, so
Hmm.
you get to keep that coin at the 2,200 range, and you can make the choice whether you want to dump it right there or run it all the way back up. Other than that, I don't think there's a lot to say. I think, right now I just feel, I'm just going to pop up my chart really quick. I know there's a lot of confusion on my chart, but it's just trading in a range. We're in a wedge. I would just, honestly, if I was everybody's, I would just sit on the sidelines right now, sit on my hands. On the bottom, we have this weekly super heavy historical resistance at 35.15. We have to break this. This is super heavy. This goes back on your weekly chart. On the top side, we've got 3 layers on the top side, right? I list them out right here, 33.65, which we hit absolutely perfect. 37.25 and 37.80. So all of these are heavy resistance going up. So you got heavy, heavier, and heaviest, and then on the downside you've got super heavy at 35.15. Honestly, for me, peoples, I would just wait. Listen, if we come up here and break out of the 3,800, you're gonna have a nice opportunity to pick this up and maybe run with it for a little while. But I would just be scalping this as you run up. If we run up, getting closer to the wedge, and then as we get up higher towards get up a little higher towards the what do you call it, the 4,300, right? I mean,
Hmm.
I feel that would be the best play, the best scenario for me, bullish and or bearish, right? So I just think we're trapped. We're just trapped, and
Yeah.
this is bots, people. This is just bots. They're wrecking you. They're wrecking me. They're wrecking everybody. I'm just sitting back, chilling out. I still think the volume is poopy, and that's it. And I will be hedging along down here. I am going to hedge along. I think this is where I think we're gonna bounce from, right down in here somewhere. And I will hedge along out of here. Now, if this just totally freaking dies out right here, I will cry like a baby. It's okay. It's okay. I will cry like a baby, but I'll do it live on air, and because it'll be
Do
really
you
ugly.
do you expect that if we get down there, are you? I mean, right now 3,600 is our support. So if we get back down to 33.50, do you see 3,600 as that major resistance? That I mean, I guess is that your target, or are you saying we get down to 33.50 and bounce? You're gonna be shooting for that
So in the
a full
same
extension of the C wave.
So in the same fractal we had back in 2014, you can see what happens. We bounced up to 786. So I'm still going to play this 786 for a bounce because look, even here we got a nice bounce up. It just died out, right? So there's a beautiful bounce up. This would have been a great scalp play. I still am going to, you're talking 33.56, run that all the way up to the 50, which is almost 3,700. That would be a beautiful alt play. That'd be a great alt play of Litecoin or Ethereum or something like that. It would be a gorgeous alt play to play that 400 points right there. And then I'll be looking to see if we can hold those levels. Now, I also would like to see if now it is possible if this would be my C wave right here. So this would be my bullish version, and then this would be my bearish version. So my bearish version would be bounce, bounce to here, and then we're going to make that arrow red. So I still think one of these things is going to play out right here. This is exactly either you're going to go down, up, right? And I'm going to make it green. Actually, it should be green, right? So you're going to go down, up, and then the decision is going to be made again right in here, you know, whether we go and up and or down. And, you know, you can go pull that down just a little bit lower, something like that. And then my ultimate, this would be perfect, the perfect scenario, because this arrow would then fill, right? This would gap fill, right? And the gap fill is, what were we talking? 43.91, right?
43, yeah, 43,
right?
yeah.
So we'll call this gap fill 43.91, wave C, right? So that would be our wave C, and we're going to go ahead and make that green. Do this background green, and we're going to fill that black, right? So this would be a perfect gap fill for us if this did run up there, okay? Now, on the flip side, if it does follow this fractal, then you're fucked. you're fucked, and we're all fucked, and it's okay. We're just gonna be running for the bottom, right? That's all it is. So I think this is the play. It's pretty simple. It's a pretty simple play. I think we're gonna find support down here. We found support on the fractal back here. I think we'll find support here on a run down, and then all of us are just gonna have to. It's really gonna be up to the bulls and whoever's got money, and if we can get some more tether printed and stuff, right?
Is that still a thing?
Yeah, it's kind of a thing, I think it's kind of a thing. So anyways, listen, I would like to say thank you all so much for being here. Please come help a brother out. Come on over here. Listen, this guy, absolutely amazing, right? We will be in Vegas together. Yes. What, 2 weeks? 2 weeks.
We're going to be there tomorrow. Yeah.
We're going to be together on the 24th. We will be live streaming together. I'll have my laptop there. We will be doing some live streaming together. We'll be there on the 24th, all the way till the 27th, I think it is. We're going to be at Tone Vase Crypto Conference. We're going to be playing in the poker tournament. We are going to be going out to a restaurant, eating A5 Kobe. We are going to be going to see some professional traders over at some very nice spots. I heard they have some professional trading camps. Hustler Club, they have it. And then they have another one set up over at Little Darlings, and then over at the Spearmint Rhino. All these are professional trading environments where you can really focus, sit down, get the peaks and the valleys and the patterns all figured out. So we will be there spending a little bit of BTC, doing our part to support future college students and single moms. And then you've got Chone over here offering some beautiful packages. Please help this guy out. Listen, we need all the money to help single moms that we can get. So come on over here. $125 gets you an hour alone with this guy on Skype.
Yep.
Right? It can be topless. That's your choice. That's $127 for that package. So you got to go for that extra $2 bonus to get that. Also, he's got his new tip thing set up on his YouTube channel. Oh,
yeah,
I'm so jealous.
I've been playing around with a bunch of stuff. Working on a website. I think people got a inadvertent sneak peek earlier today, but I'm still working on that and trying to combine all the Chonisness out there into one more cleaner and defined portal. But yeah, and I always appreciate the tips when I do my live shows. Always much appreciated. And I'm psyched for Vegas. The day I leave here, there's supposed to be a snowstorm, so I hope I can get out on time. But it'll be nice to get to land in a little more of a temperate environment. And see some interesting TNA while I'm there. So.
TA. We will be doing TA at these exquisite TA spots. Also, just want to remind everybody that, and especially the Chone, listen, when you're headed to the airport, don't forget our completely useless government is shut down right now. So the completely useless TSA, which is completely usually super useless, is even more useless now than their uselessness usually is. So just remember to head to the airport that extra little bit early. Each and every one of you, I want to say thank you out there to everybody. We love you, each and every single one of you. We are excited and happy for you to be here every day joining us. I am the Vamp. This is the Chone, and we are out.